Okay, just want to do a quick video for the 23 Model S Plaid. I kind of thought about it kind of after the fact. I've already been involved with this for a minute. I probably should have started it earlier. So I feel like the factory stance is kind of subpar. The wheel's set in pretty far. So I decided to try to maybe pull out the stance to just make it look more aggressive. Because there's really just not a lot you can do to these Teslas anyway, as far as modifications. So I ordered these bonos, which is you can get it on eBay, and I think it might be on Amazon. I think they were a few $100. I can put a link if you'd like. They're supposed to be higher quality. They seem to be tested. They are from China, so you have to wait. My wait actually wasn't that bad. It was probably like, I don't know, I don't want to say like a week. They're supposed to be forged steel spacers. Come with a warranty. Seem to be pretty solid. Come with the lug nuts. I've already taken them off there. I've got the others installed, but it comes with 4. And it looks like a pretty solid cut of aluminum. It feels sturdy. The lugs feel sturdy. The nuts feel sturdy. They feel like they've got a good, whatever the coating is on them, feels like it's pretty good. So I'm pretty impressed so far with them. I've already done 3 sides of the car. So I got a before picture, but you can see the stance on this side is pretty aggressive. And to be honest, it's not settled down right now, but on the front, these are 30 or 20. I think these are, pretty sure these are 30 millimeter if I'm not mistaken, which is the more aggressive ones. I think you can do 20. And the thing is when you get them on there, and I'll show you in a minute in this video, it looks like the lugs are gonna hit, like you're gonna have to cut them, and they warn you before you buy them that you may have to cut the lugs, but I have these wheels, the arachnids, and the arachnids you don't have to do that with so far. So here's kind of the stance in the front. You can see it's pretty aggressive. Like it looks like it's like right there flush with the fender. I've heard reports of it no rubbing. I actually had some rubbing stock. There's some marks on the inner well. I'm not sure it was just like body panel alignment or why just on this side. I mean, I drive pretty aggressive, even corners and stuff, so that might be part of it. So it'll be interesting to see if these actually do the same thing or not. But this side's done. And then I'm gonna show you this other side. So it's obviously doing them is pretty self-explanatory. I use impact wrench on everything, but I do also do a torque wrench on top of it. So they're actually probably torqued a little bit higher than spec, because I go through and check them with the torque wrench, and then most of them end up hitting right on. So here's where we start out. So you pop off your cap with your fingers. This just pulls off. You do 1 on each end, pull off the center cap. And then once you pull the center cap off, I just took the lugs, went ahead and hit them with the impact. And so I got those off. And we're gonna set this down for a second. Let's see here. All right. Pull this wheel. And what's cool too is on the Tesla, it's got very obvious jack points. Some vehicles you have to use little aluminum spacer pieces that kind of set underneath the subframe and to lift it up and jack it. But these have like excellent little points on all 4 corners. And there's no like confusing where you're gonna do it, because it's just completely obvious like where to put the jack. So I do like that about them. One thing I will say, as far as brakes, there's a video going around of the rears being like a little tiny 4-piston, which like extends out right here, which is like an illusion on the caliper. And it's real. You know, that's not a joke. I looked on mine and it's the same way on the 23. This is cut off about here, and it's just an illusion of like a larger caliper, and it's actually a small one. It looks like the size. I have a C5 Corvette, and it looks almost identical to the size of brakes on my C5. And I can't remember if that's the front or the rear, but either way, it has tiny brakes from a 2001, and those look almost identical on the rear there. These fronts look pretty good. The rears look like atrocious. So once you got it on here, and I've already taken off the little ends, let me go grab my spacer piece. And then they slide on flush, but they do stick out just a hair right here, and you can see that. And that always was concerning, because I was like, is this going to sit flush? Like, that was my big concern initially doing this, was it, are they going to sit flush? And when I looked at the wheels, where they kind of protrude a little bit on the Arachnids, now this might be different for the 19s, but you can see there's indentions there to where these can stick out a little bit. It's not a full flush wheel. So I think these will work depending on your wheel. If you have aftermarket wheels, you might want to check that. If it's got a flush face, it's not going to work. Or if the 19s, which I'm not familiar with, if they do, you'll have to cut these down, which I would never cut down the stock one. I don't think that's a good idea in any circumstance, which really honestly spacers probably aren't the best idea. But I've used them in the past and had decent luck, not with these particular ones, but on other vehicles. I've never had a failure. Not to say that you can't, this is definitely a different monster. But the 1,000 horsepower realm I'm not too unfamiliar with vehicle wise. So, you know, I feel like these are safe enough quality to me to where I'm gonna use them, you know. Only time will tell, but they seem to be pretty rugged, pretty strong. Obviously fracture points, you can look all on here. There's the closest, the weakest point is going to be anywhere that's got the shortest amount of metal, but I'm not autocrossing in that. If I was autocrossing, something like that, absolutely this would probably be a horrible idea, but I'm more just driving on the street, spirited driving and nothing really like crazy. So, and if you need to know the size, it's 21s millimeter for the stock lugs, and then for these they're 19s. Like I said, on these, and it's 129 foot-pounds is your torque for your stock lugs. So I've just been putting these to 129. I probably should read the instructions, but I'm just doing the same torque. Let's see. And these you can't really, because the wheel spins, like you can't really, it's hard to check with the torque wrench, so you'd have to find a way to brake and stop it. So I'm trusting that I've already checked this at max torque for lugs, as long as I keep it on a decent amount of time, and it hits that 129 mark at least, so it's at a minimum of that torque. So I feel pretty confident, unless you missed a lug, that I've got to at least that torque on these. So that's why I know you won't see me use a torque wrench on these. Okay, and so now the wheel can go on. You can see they'll kind of spin and lock in, and they look pretty centered, so I don't think there's like any interference on the inside. So I think we've got a flush fit. I won't really know till I drive it, because if this is off center at all, there's gonna be a vibration. So I'm gonna know that immediately. If it rides flush at 80 miles an hour, then I should be good. Should be no interference on the inside. Everything else over here, I can't fit a card or anything between. I don't think there's any clearance issues. So I think those, the slight protrusion of the stock lugs sits directly in the cutout insets on the wheels, which ends up working out perfectly, so you don't have to cut them or do anything. So far, at least appears so. So let's see. I'm trying to be careful so I don't crash these wheels. Now this is Walkie Fuel. Can't remember which model. This is the 2767-20 impact half inch. I think the torque in this thing is like something crazy. It's 500 plus easy. So now I'm gonna let it down and then we'll test and see if it comes out to about that. I looked for tow mode on these because I've read that you're supposed to want to tow mode. I couldn't find that. I did search everywhere. I couldn't see the actual tow mode, even though they mentioned tow mode. Well, not tow mode, I'm sorry, lift mode. But I didn't find that, so I don't know if that's not a thing on the plaids. I would think it would be with this air suspension because it like kind of auto levels, but if it's there, maybe you can tell me in the comments like where it's at and that it is a thing. And I'm not sure why it needs to know that. Maybe it misses something with auto leveling, I don't know. All right, so I have this set already for 129 foot-pounds. So you'll see these will probably be pretty close, or mostly be more. It's all within a few foot-pounds of what it needs to be. Okay, and that's it. So easy peasy. We'll see if there's any vibration. I'll do an end little thing on the video. I'll let you see the difference. Just pop the centers on, car's down. You're just not gonna be able to tell because it's still like up in the air with air suspension right now. But this is kind of the stance. Definitely more aggressive. I don't feel like they're aggressive enough from the factory, but that's kind of it. So we'll see. So stay posted. Okay, so we're gonna go for a ride in the plaid. This is after we've done the little spacer, see if there's any vibration. Let's see here. So far it feels good. The only reason I'm thinking there might be a vibration is just because the protruding lugs and just making sure that they self-centered appropriately. If they didn't center appropriately, then there would be vibration. So we'll see real quick. And let's also see if it throws any sort of codes. So you can see where I try to do jack mode and just pulled up the jack mode song, searching for it. All right, let's see here. Okay. Bars are good. Ride's fine. Stick it up to 70 or 80. It's good there. It's gonna be good the rest of the way. Let's go around this corner. Okay, well, I guess that answers that question. Car seems to make your job straight still. Yeah, still job straight. It's probably got an auto level a little bit. I'm sure camber's going to be off a little bit with the spacers. I don't know how it's going to affect that. You would think pushing out like that it would affect the inner camber or the inner tire wear a little more. And these are supposed to be known for that anyway. We'll see. And we'll see if it makes a difference on the like shutter, or sometimes you feel under acceleration. This really doesn't bother me. So, okay. All right. Well, that's it.